Hey Miami Lakers, welcome to our daily COVID-19 update. I'm joined by our town manager, Ed Peterman, and I got a new intern here with me, little Manny Sid, who's joining me today. So Miami Lakers numbers and seeing some of the stats that have been happening statewide, specifically some of the data here locally from the town of Miami Lakes and hospitalization data. And for that, I'm going to hand it over to our town manager. We'll get deeper into some of the localized data in a bit, but we do want to talk about what's happening here in our community with COVID-19. Mr. Manager?
Yeah, today's report from the state of Florida indicated that there are now 157 Miami Lakers who have tested positive for the coronavirus. So that's quite a bit of a jump since last week, but we have seen the number of people being tested dramatically increase. Another interesting stat is that we're starting to see the average age of people testing positive is actually going down, which is good for some reasons. It seems that younger people can tolerate the virus much easier, but we have to people are 20-somethings, 30-something, that they are cognizant that they are not bulletproof. They are not invincible. They can pick up the virus just as easy as the elderly. But those young people, if they feel good, they don't realize they have the virus, they can transmit it to their parents, to their abuelitas, their abuelitos, and that's where we continue to endanger the elderly population that really are the ones that are most affected by this. Que el número en el reporte estatal de hoy es de 157. Eso es debido al número de casos de personas que han tomado el examen, la prueba para el COVID-19. Pero también hemos visto que el promedio, el averaje de la edad de las personas que están probando positivo ha disminuido. La gente son más joven y tenemos que tener cuidado que la gente joven tiene la posibilidad de contratar el virus igual que la gente de media edad o la gente, los ancianos. Pero esa gente joven se sienten bien, no tienen síntomas, pueden transmitir el virus ese a sus padres, a sus abuelos. Tenemos que tener cuidado que la gente joven tomen las mismas precauciones que la gente mayor de cubrirse la cara y estar seguro que ellos no tienen la posibilidad de transmitir el virus ese a la gente mayor, que se pueden tener más efectos.
About where you're more likely to get coronavirus from. Scientists are already talking about that from surfaces, contaminated surfaces, very unlikely. From casual interactions outdoors is highly unlikely. But the main culprit behind this is close encounters. People hanging out with each other, talking for long periods of time, specifically indoors, and what that's happening. It's really having a major uptick in these cases. So a lot of folks are going to families' houses, going here, going there, and not practicing proper social distancing and doing what's right. And I think you're starting to see that uptick. So it's interesting when you really start delving into those discussions as to what's happening. So I think we know that if folks will do the right thing and wear their mask and do proper social distancing, that you'll see cases go down again. But we got to make sure that everybody does that. But yeah, some of the main culprits is that really for in indoor spaces, that contamination rate, that infection rate. Folks aren't doing what's right if they don't have their mask on and whatnot. So make sure you continue doing that. I'll share with you, y para los residentes en español, algo que ya se está hablando bastante, y los científicos, hoy leí un artículo que los científicos están diciendo que en áreas como una mesa que está contaminada, parece que no, en ese momento no van a coger el coronavirus por eso. Y también si están afuera caminando y ven a alguien a otro lado y esto, los chances de coger el coronavirus no es alto, pero lo que está pasando es que las personas cuando están en áreas encerradas o áreas con grupos muy grandes hablando y esto, que no tienen las máscaras, ahí y que están juntos por mucho tiempo, ahí cuando la infección sube, specifically when folks are really gathered close together for long periods of time, without doing the proper social distancing and the masks, you're really starting to see infection rates go up. I'll share with you some of the data, the hospitalization data. It actually came out, I think the county mayor released it just a little bit ago, actually about 11 minutes ago. He released today's dashboard, which is always interesting, right? The new COVID patients in hospitals in Dade County yesterday today, 117 new COVID patients in Miami-Dade hospitals just today. Those are new patients going into hospitals today. 93 COVID patients being discharged, meaning folks that are better that were discharged today. So that's just today. But we got to stay vigilant because we're starting to see, the numbers on acute care beds, the ICU beds, ventilators, the amount of ventilators available. I think the county has, I'll tell you right now, over 1,000 ventilators available. So you look at those stats, and what they tell you is that we got to remain vigilant. We got to make sure that we continue practicing social distancing, wearing our masks, and doing what's right, because if not, those stats can really go in the wrong direction. So we'll keep an eye out, and that's what the manager said. We're starting to see younger, unfortunately, right? And we don't want to see anybody get infected, but we're starting to see younger people get infected at a higher rate. So it's really changing those stats. But I know when it comes to the mortality rate and really where some of these tougher infections, we do know that it's in our senior population. So we got to make sure that public policy continues, specifically being geared towards them to make sure that they are safe and that the infection rates among seniors do not rise. Anything else you want to add before we go into questions?
No, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, right? So what we have to make sure is that the young people especially, and I don't want to sound like an old person lecturing the young people, but the young people, they sometimes feel like they are unable to catch this disease, and they are just as likely to catch it as elderly. What they do they can tolerate the disease easier, but they can transmit just as easy, and we've got to make sure that we, like the mayor said, that we protect our senior population, because those are the ones that don't tolerate the disease as well as a young age.
Two more stats just to share with you, show you how serious this disease is. And COVID patients in ICU beds in Dade County. COVID patients in ICU beds in Dade County. There are 236 COVID patients in ICU beds in hospitals around our county, and COVID patients on ventilators. There are 90 COVID patients currently on ventilators in Miami-Dade County. That is very serious, right? We know that if somebody gets to the point of being in an ICU bed, being on a ventilator, how serious that is. So we want to make sure that those numbers keep dropping. Keep those folks in our prayers, right? We want to make sure that more and more people get discharged. But more importantly, we got to remain vigilant. We do know, who knows that when we'll see a vaccine, right? I mean, those are major what ifs. We know that the real development of vaccines take a long time. Hopefully treatments continue getting better for COVID, but we got to make sure that we keep doing what's right. Clarice, any questions on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube?
We have no questions at this time.
So we'll give you about another minute or so to talk about that, but I want to ask the manager a question myself, because I know I keep getting people asking me about it. Basketball courts, and I know that they're closed in Miami Lakes, but they're allowed in Miami-Dade County. Do you think we're going to start allowing our residents to go play basketball again? Why can't they? I mean, just because I get people asking me all the time.
Yeah, obviously private basketball courts in HOA developments and those were able to be open. The only ones that we closed were the 3 half courts that the town owned. The half right? So you have a half court, and if you allow 2 or 3 people to come in, the problem is that then before you know it, there's 4 or 5, and in a smaller half court setup, it's almost impossible to socially distance.
Got it. Yeah, so I want to make sure that was talked about, because I know I get a lot of calls about that and about our tot lots, right? When we see our tot lots, the green space is reopened, but the playgrounds in those tot lots still has not reopened. But continue practicing your mask. I mean, we do know that the manager has his mask on, my son Manny has his mask on, myself, Clarissa, that we have their mask on, even though we are right here talking to each other, that it is almost impossible to transmit the coronavirus to each other. So we do know that happens. If we didn't have our mask on and we were talking in close proximity in an indoor space for a long period of time, and since we're not family per se, that's not allowed, but those chances of transmitting the coronavirus increases tremendously. So just keep cognizant of that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the rules, even for restaurants throughout Dade County, talked about that. Where folks can come in and your family can sit in one booth, but if they're not part of the same family, you have to divide them. I mean, so there's certain things certain requirements that they got put in place for a reason. The infectious disease experts knew what they were doing, so that's why everything got implemented the way it was. Anything else? Nothing at this moment?
Nothing.
Miami Lakers, July 4th, fireworks display. It will be moving forward. Stay tuned for that. You're going to be able to watch via our social media channels, so make sure that you tune in. Also, submit your message to your friends, to your family, wishing them a happy Independence Day. Send that over to the town. It's going to be compiled into the official Town of Miami Lakes Independence Day video to celebrate the birth of our incredible nation.
With regard to the Independence Day celebration, well, we did something different this year. We are shooting fireworks from two different locations. One on the west side, where we typically do our fireworks, but we're doing another one on the east side. So the area surrounding where the fireworks are going to be shot from, that area will be closed. It's not going to be the same as we've done before, where we have thousands of people in the park. We are going to have fireworks from two different locations, and everybody will be able to see and witness the fireworks from the comfort of their backyard. They'll be able to see it from anywhere that you live in the town of Miami Lakes. You're going to be able to witness the firework display from your own backyard. So that's going to be a big benefit, and so we'll all be able to celebrate our nation's birthday, but we'll be able to do it safely with socially distanced, and we'll be able to do it from our own houses.
So I got a text question. I guess there wants to know the cases, 157 cases. Are they still active cases, or are these cases from the beginning moving down? How many cases are active? Have they told us how many folks have recovered and what's going on?
No, I mean, obviously the number has increased significantly, but this happened once before. If you remember, Mayor, maybe about a month and a half ago, 2 months, that from over the weekend we had, and it happened this time again, believe that some of these big jumps are because the state is catching up with paperwork, catching up with the results of tests. So we don't believe that there were 57 or 54 new cases just from yesterday to today. What we believe that's just the state catching up with a series of tests. So obviously, and we've said this before, the number of people that I give you, the 157, does not mean that there's 157 with coronavirus. Majority. That currently have the virus.
Look, and you got to remember, the folks that are asymptomatic, they're not being counted. We do know, based on the county study, that 7%, close to 7% of all Dade County, per their study, in theory, already had the coronavirus. They were asymptomatic. And when we saw the testing here in the town, the COVID testing, it was close to 3%. So between 3 to 7%. Here in our own community, I mean, it's almost safe to say that, maybe there are folks that are asymptomatic. 3% between, 6% of our community is close to 1,800 people here in the town of Miami Lakes, a little bit more than that. So we know that the reality is the 157 are people that they tested positive, they had symptoms probably, it was a contact tracing that a lot of those folks are getting tested, but we do know that there are a lot more people that were asymptomatic or are asymptomatic that haven't gotten tested that probably had it. The good news is I know the World Health Organization talked about that folks that are asymptomatic, it was very rare for them to be able to transmit it. So that was some good news there on that front. But that number 157 is just folks that tested positive. But we do know that the number is definitely higher based on people that were asymptomatic, based on our own testing here in our community, and based on what the county did on such a big level where they did their study. Any no questions?
No questions.
Any closing? Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
So thank you, Miami Lakers. Tune in on Thursday for Mental Health Thursday here in our community. And stay tuned, July 4th, like we said. But July 10th, we got Sonic at our first drive-in pop-up movie theater at Anna G. Mendes University. You got to make sure that you register online. I believe the tickets cost, Clarisol?
They cost $5, but unfortunately the event is sold out at this time.
They cost $5, but the event is sold out. Hopefully in the future we can find somewhere bigger. We knew the tickets were going to fly because the demand is so big, right? We haven't been able to go to a movie theater in a long time, but we'll see if we can find some other venues in the future, bigger venues. But yeah, thank you for everybody that already had registered. And again, happy 4th. Make sure you submit those videos. What better way to celebrate the 4th and in our community, the unity that we showcase by submitting videos wishing your friends and family a happy Independence Day. So take care, Miami Lakers. We'll see you on Thursday around the same time. Thursday, we know how important that discussion is, how many people have been impacted their mental health by the COVID-19 pandemic. So take care, be safe, reach out, 305-364-6100. We are here for you, and God bless.